Hi everybody, I'm Sam Gelfand and this is Local News 8. We begin tonight with breaking news. A section of Wyoming Highway 22, better known as the Teton Pass, collapsed overnight. First, a mudslide closed the road yesterday, and today, just a few miles away, a landslide sent asphalt and concrete tumbling down the cliff below. Local News 8's Jeff Roper took to the skies and surveyed the damage from an airplane. Now, Jeff, what did you see out there?
I gotta tell you, Sam, it was kind of lonely. The Teton Pass being closed right now. Idahoans and Wyoming cowboy members, they're really just kind of scratching their head at this point, trying to figure out how we're going to get around this. Looking forward to next week. There's going to be some juggling of commuting and whatnot. This is a sky picture. Tom Watson took me up from the Rexburg Airport this morning just so we could get an aerial view of this. We have some drone footage we want to show you, but it's very difficult to find along this stretch of the Teton Pass. This is the mudslide that went down on into Friday. So as that was already blocking part of the Teton Pass, we noticed some cracking that was happening on into Thursday. This is an aerial view exclusive only on 8 of that large gaping hole in the middle of that curve that rises up and just swings around, and there's just scraps of metal into the ground, the post being just smeared all over the back country, and there's no way anyone's getting through there. It began as some small cracking began to develop on into Friday, and it wasn't until this morning that we woke up and there was no way through the Teton Pass. This is another aerial view from WYDOT of that gaping hole, and you can see the strands of metal almost just twisted like a child's toy down into the crater that it has left. And the areas that WYDOT was already trying to dig into and create another path for commuters and tourists into this busy season. We are tracking this story, and we'll have more for you coming up on the Teton Pass collapse. Sam.
Thanks, Jeff. Now, Idahoans traveling to and from Jackson now only have one option: driving through Swan Valley. That's where Local News 8's Braden Wilson is right now. He joins us live with the impact on travel. Braden, what have you found out?
I work over in Jackson, so I take the bus generally across the pass, but yesterday was the first time we actually had to come down to this way on the bus, and then she works over on the other side of the pass, and we were coming back here the other night.
We're both seasonal employees here, and yeah, we've never seen anything like this, so it was kind of surprising to see the chunks in the road. We're from the Midwest. This doesn't happen in the Midwest.
Elijah and Eleanor were on their way to a birthday party in Jackson. They had no choice but to change their route. At least their employer is understanding.
When he got the news, he was like, hey, it's okay if you can't come in today. And I was like, no, the bus is still going to go. It's just going to go a little south. I'll probably be in around 9. So they've been really easy with me and they've worked well with me with my schedule and everything.
I live on the other side of the pass, but we enjoy weekend adventures together, and so this is all part of the adventure.
This collapse also comes at the start of tourist season. The Swan Valley General Store is seeing a lot more customers.
If the last couple of days have been an indicator of what's to come, we are expecting it to get a lot busier, and we're just prepared for that.
It's hard to think of how the collapse could affect future business when the store is so busy right now.
We all just pulled together, and my general manager was down here quite a bit today, checking and doing whatever needs to be done everywhere, and the whole team pulls together, and my butcher was up here cashiering.
The Wyoming Department of Transportation has sent us a statement on the road failure. It says in part, and I quote, "We understand this highway is a lifeline for commuters, deliveries, medical care access, and tourism, especially with limited alternatives and the summer season upon us. WYDOT mobilized quickly to try to maintain highway viability as long as possible, but catastrophic failure could not be avoided. We ask that recreationists and curious residents avoid the area until it can be stabilized." You can find the full statement on our website, localnews8.com. WYDOT engineer Bob Hammond says a landslide under the road caused the collapse, and last night it began rapidly accelerating.
But the landslide, after trying to do some work with an emergency contract with a local contractor, the landslide continued to accelerate yesterday into the evening. So it was dropping about 6 inches an hour. And so we couldn't keep up with that, and we pulled out all the material we could do, and overnight it failed catastrophically.
Hammond says the earth under the road has been shifting over time, and that part has always been manageable until last night.
It had all the telltale signs of a landslide. We knew it was, but not every landslide moves catastrophically. This one we've known about for decades. It has slowly moved, maybe a quarter inch a year. We get patched up pretty easy. So it really wasn't a major concern up until Thursday when it moved 8 inches. That's a lot to move that quickly. And then again the next day, another 12 inches. So it added up quickly.
Hammond says WYDOT is evaluating short-term options for traffic. Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon is also speaking about the road collapse. In his words, and I quote, "This morning I met with state officials from the Wyoming Department of Transportation and Wyoming Office of Homeland Security to coordinate a response to the catastrophic landslide that has closed Teton Pass. I am grateful for the efforts of WYDOT staff to protect public safety during this developing situation, and am thankful no one was injured during this incident." WYDOT geologists and engineers are on site to develop a long-term solution to rebuild the roadway. At this time, we do not have an estimated timeline for the road to reopen. I recognize the impacts this closure has to Teton County residents, regional commuters, and the local economy, and we are in direct communication with local officials. We will continue to provide updates on the road status as additional information becomes available. As we mentioned earlier, there is an alternative route you can take while the Teton Pass gets rebuilt. Drivers can go through Swan Valley to Wyoming's Hoback Junction on Highway 2689. If you're heading to Jackson from Driggs, just go south towards Victor, then take Highway 26 southeast through the Palisades towards Alpine, Wyoming. Then take Highway 89 through Hoback Junction. Finally, take Wyoming Highway 191 to Jackson. The Teton Pass has seen a lot of activity over the past few days. First, on Thursday morning, cracks started forming in the road at milepost 12.8. Wyoming's Department of Transportation got to work trying to patch the highway, but those cracks would keep getting bigger, leading to today's collapse. Then on Friday, just over 2 miles down the road, a massive mudslide closed a different stretch of Highway 22. For a time, crews faced an uphill battle trying to get the road cleared near milepost 15 as more mud kept sliding down the mountain. WYDOT tells us that today, the cleanup on that stretch of road is nearly done. While that was happening, the cracks at milepost 12.8 kept getting bigger until earlier this morning when a large chunk of the highway slid off the side of the mountain.
You're watching Local News 8 in the morning.
This is the moment.
That is just a crazy sight. Now, this was the Teton Pass collapsing due to a landslide over there. Now, this is after a mudslide and a crack was found on that same stretch of road. A scary situation.
Listen to the sound of the metal being twisted and yanked out of the road. This is from the governor's office on the edge of what is now an empty spot.
Well, thanks for starting your week with us. I'm Kaylee Galaviz.
And I'm Jeff Roper. I was able to get over there this weekend and take an aerial view of the damage. This event began Thursday with cracks around the edge of Highway 22 measuring 8 inches below the surface. This area continued to widen over the next 2 days, in addition to a mudslide just 2 miles further down the route. Even after authorities patched the initial cracks on Highway 22 and creating the beginnings of an alternate route to keep motorists safe, the land began to slide early Sunday morning. Twisted metal from the guardrail and pounds of dirt falling hundreds of feet below, leaving no road in sight. It was a picture many of us expected to see, but didn't know how it would happen. There's no exact time frame on when the pass will be open for residents of Idaho and even Utah to get to Jackson Hole.
Well, this closure is causing travelers trying to get to and from Jackson having to find other routes.
Yeah, the Swan Valley General Store is already seeing a larger amount of customers from the closure. Seasonal workers who use the pass to commute between Idaho and Wyoming have expressed their concern over the passage as well.
Instead of being a 45-minute commute, it's more like a 2-hour commute. But I still think we're in the prettiest place on earth. So next to Nebraska.
We came down here last weekend and everything like that, and it's been fun. Like again, riding the bus like through the different part and going through the reservoir and seeing different parts. I mean, it's all part of the adventure, I would say. But I mean, it is an extra 2 hours of 4 hours of commute going to work and then coming back. So we'll see how bored I get of it.
Well, this major collapse comes after a crack was discovered and a mudslide that happened just a couple of miles away. It's unclear how long it will take to rebuild the pass.
For travelers trying to get either to or from Jackson, there are a couple of different alternate routes to take during the closure. Take a look at this map. Drivers can go through Swan Valley to Wyoming's Hoback Junction on Highway 2689. If you're headed to Jackson from Driggs, go south toward Victor, then take Highway 26 southeast through the Palisades toward Alpine. And then you can take Highway 89 through Hoback Junction, finally take Wyoming Highway 191 to Jackson.
New at noon, renewed access over the Teton Pass might be on the way in a matter of weeks, not months.
Wyoming's Department of Transportation says they are confident they can build a safe temporary detour around that slide area that you're seeing using local fill material and paving to temporary lines. They are hoping to have a temporary detour open to the public with some strict weight and width restrictions in a few weeks.
Jeff, you were able to actually go over there and check it out.
Yeah, I did. I flew over from Rexburg thanks to Tom Watson on Saturday morning. This is into many areas of Teton County, Idaho. You can see how just much snowmelt has occurred with the moisture that's on the ground. So when we talk about snowmelt, it just keeps coming. The areas surrounding that portion of the Teton Pass still snow on the land there, and it is streaming. You can see it from high above, and that's the 40,000 foot view from above 2,000 feet there at the Teton Pass, and that large swath of just mangled metal and missing roadway. It was hard to find from that high above, but when you look at it from that landscape, truly awestruck when you see the hole in the road that so many of us know and that we use and just disappeared within a matter of hours.
It looks massive, so to hear you say that it was hard to find from that high.
It was difficult. I mean, you saw me zooming in there because we were in an airplane going 120 miles an hour. So to catch it very quickly out of that side of the plane, I also saw the mudslide as well, and that was hard to see, but they're doing a great job of cleaning that up. And you almost think that that mudslide helped prevent any further danger.
That's right. Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation, has issued a response on the Teton Pass saying, quote, the Department of Transportation will be helping with the reconstruction of the Teton Pass. Part of the Highway 22 near Wyoming-Idaho border has been taken out by a landslide, major disruption for travelers. Our DOT team is working with Wyoming officials to assist with emergency repairs. In the meantime, if you plan ahead if your route takes you over the pass, end quote. A temporary solution underway after the collapse of the Teton Pass Road.
Yeah, WYDOT says they are confident that a short-term fix is possible in the next few weeks. Take a look at these pictures. This is already work beginning as they've removed portions of the disconnected road that just collapsed over the course of the weekend. If you go to WYDOT's website and ours, you'll see those updated photographs where work is beginning. Businesses worried about the effects of this. You may have to deal with it in the meantime.
And that's going to trickle down to not just the city, all the business owners, everybody else that lives here. And, that doesn't just end at the day that the road opens. It takes a long time to catch up from those lost revenues and the projects that needed to happen that had to be delayed because we didn't have the money available.
Well, even after the road is back up and running, this collapse could have lasting impacts on the Teton Valley and Jackson.
Jackson Hole Tourism and Travel Board put out a statement yesterday saying they're still open during this time and encouraging visitors to go through Snake River Canyon on 26 and 89. There's been some speculation about earthquakes online, about that playing a role in the collapse of the Teton Pass. That hypothesis doesn't seem very likely. There have been no significant earthquakes in the Teton Valley other than those that we normally see into Yellowstone. This is a recent seismic activity map of the last week, and we've been tracking that for you.
That's right, and the Wyoming Department of Transportation suspects water to be the cause of the landslide.
There's always been a small creek at the base of the slide, at the base of this fill slope. And really it was the native material that had gotten saturated. It was a reddish type silt material versus some decently graded backfill that had gone on top of it. And over the years, I suspect some springs, water had gone through and found different paths over the years, and it got really underneath where it needed to be. And springs were at the base, and that water there was the large factor that changed things.
Now, if you are trying to get around the pass between now and when the temporary route can be built, you'll need to go through Swan Valley and the Snake River Canyon to Hoback Junction using Highway 2689. If you're going to Jackson from Driggs, go south toward Victor and over the Pine Creek Pass to Swan Valley, then take Highway 26 along the Palisades Reservoir to Alpine, Wyoming, then take Highway 89 just past the lunch counter through the Snake River Canyon until Hoback Junction becomes 89-191 into Jackson. It's a great ride, and there's plenty of things to eat and drink along the way and enjoy the sunshine.
Make a trip of it.
Yeah.
Take a look at this picture showing geology crews drilling into the Teton Pass slide area and investigating the soil profiles. Now they're looking to confirm the cause of the landslide and to collect better data for potential reconstruction. In 2 weeks, engineers are confident they can build a safe temporary detour ahead around the slide area, paving 2 temporary lanes. Evans Construction Company was awarded an emergency bid from the Wyoming Transportation Commission yesterday. They will now construct the temporary detour around the Big Fill slide area. The Teton Pass remains closed again this morning as crews continue to work on a detour for the Big Fill landslide. WYDOT says crews are nearing completion of the dirt work to construct a temporary detour. This is the video that I shot from a plane the day it happened. There's that gaping hole in the Teton Pass, and they continue to move earth to fill in the gaps. This is as late as last night, an aerial view of the detour that's been reworked, and they're going to put some more dirt in there for that temporary detour, and crews will then start preparing the area for paving operations. Officials hope to have the detour paved by the middle of next week and open to traffic soon after that. Now, the new detour is going to be paved. There'll be 2 12-foot wide lanes, 1 in each direction, and they're also going to put some concrete barriers there to protect motorists from any hazards. And they say the detour has been constructed on the interior of that curve that washed away from the unstable side. WYDOT also plans to reduce speed through the area after opening. In the meantime, those who usually use the Teton Pass are still detouring around using US 26 through Swan Valley and then into the Snake River Canyon, around the lunch counter, and through Hoback Junction to reach Jackson. Members of the Teton County, Wyoming community are voicing their concerns, though, that the Teton Pass detour project is moving too quickly with too little communication. Jessica Chambers of the Jacksontown Council has written an editorial about it. She writes that WYDOT failed to see the warning signs when an 8-inch deep crack was first reported in the bend of Highway 22. She also says that it was fortunate no one was on the road during the collapse because of that mudslide that happened just 2 miles down the road. That forced WYDOT to close the highway. She's concerned that the Wyoming Department of Transportation is not taking the time to ensure there will not be future issues.
There's not a lot of room for error in this particular spot. I think there's a lot of rush to get the pass back open for the workers commuting and for the tourists that were coming from Idaho. But moving at such a clip is likely going to cause the delays to be much longer in the timeline. And if this fix fails, there is nowhere else on that bend that we can put in another reroute.
Chambers says she's not writing to be an alarmist, but rather to ask for more communication between town leadership and the Department of Transportation for assurance that the road will be safe to drive on. We are reaching out to Wyoming's Department of Transportation for a response.
New this morning, the Teton Pass detour now paved. Take a look at this. The lines are even on there as well. Some of the cement barriers also up. WYDOT says that they are on track to open the pass back up tomorrow.